Good morning. I'll start with a morning prayer by Bahá'u'lláh. I have wakened in thy shelter, O my God, and it becometh him that seeketh that shelter to abide within the sanctuary of thy protection and the stronghold of thy defense. Illumine my inner being, O my Lord, with the splendors of the dayspring of thy revelation, even as thou didst illumine my outer being with the morning light of thy favor. Here's another prayer by Bahá'u'lláh. O my God and my Master, I am thy servant and the son of thy servant. I have risen from my couch at this dawntide, when the day star I'm going to have to look it up. O my God and my Master, I am thy servant and the son of thy servant. I have risen from my couch at this dawn time, when the day star of thy will, when the day star of thy oneness hath shed its radiance when the day star of thy oneness hath shone forth from the day spring of thy will, and hath shed its radiance upon the whole world, according to what had been mentioned in the books of thy decree. Praise be unto thee, O my God, that we have wakened to the splendors of the dayspring of thy revelation. Send down then upon us, O my Lord, what will enable us to dispense with anyone but thee, and will rid us of all attachment to aught else except thyself. Write down, moreover, O my Lord, for me, and for such as are dear to me, and for my kindred, man and woman alike, the good of this world and of the world to come. Keep us safe then, through thine unfailing protection, O thou, the beloved of the entire universe, and the desire of the whole world, from them whom thou hast made to be the manifestation of the evil whisperer, who whisper in men's breasts. Potent art thou to do what pleaseth thee. Thou art verily the Almighty, the help in peril, the self-subsisting. Bless thou, O Lord my God, him whom thou hast set over thy most excellent titles, and through whom thou hast divided between the godly and the wicked, and graciously aid us to do what thou lovest and desirest. Bless thou moreover, O my Lord, them who are thy words and thy letters, and them who have set their faces towards thee, and turned unto thy face, and hearkened to thy call. Thou art verily the Lord and King of all men, and art potent over all things. Here's a prayer by Abdu'l-Baha. O my Lord, thou knowest that the people are encircled with pain and calamities, and are environed with hardships and trouble. Every trial doth attack man, and every dire adversity doth assail him, like unto the assault of a serpent. There is no shelter and asylum for him, except under the wing of thy protection, preservation, guard, and custody. O thou the merciful one, O my Lord, make thy protection my armor, thy preservation my shield, humbleness before the door of thy oneness my guard, and thy custody and defense my fortress and my abode. Preserve me from the suggestions of self and desire, and guard me from every sickness, trial, difficulty, and ordeal. Verily thou art the protector, the guardian, the preserver, the sufficer. And verily thou art the merciful of the most merciful. Here's another one by Abdu'l-Baha. O God, my God, fill up for me the cup of detachment from all things, and in the assembly of thy splendors and bestowals, rejoice me with the wine of loving thee. Free me from the assaults of passion and desire. Break off from me the shackles of this nether world. Draw me with rapture unto thy supernal realm, and refresh me amongst the handmaids with the breathings of thy holiness. O Lord, brighten thou my face with the lights of thy bestowals. Light thou mine eyes with beholding the signs of thine all-subduing might. Delight my heart with the glory of thy knowledge that encompasseth all things. Gladden thou my soul with thy soul-reviving tidings of great joy. O thou King of this world and the kingdom above. O thou Lord of dominion and might, that I may spread abroad thy signs and tokens, and proclaim thy cause, and promote thy teachings, and serve thy law, and exalt thy word. Thou art verily the powerful, the ever-giving, the able, the omnipotent. I'm going to read a prayer by Abdu'l-Baha for parents. O Lord, in this most great dispensation, thou dost accept the intercession of children in behalf of their parents. This is one of the special, infinite bestowals of this dispensation. Therefore, O thou kind Lord, accept the request of this thy servant at the threshold of thy singleness, and submerge his father in the ocean of thy grace, because this son hath arisen to render thee service, and is exerting effort at all times in the pathway of thy love. Verily thou art the giver, the forgiver, and the kind. Here's one by the Bab. Glory be unto thee, O Lord my God. I beg thee to forgive me and those who support thy faith. Verily thou art the sovereign Lord, the forgiver, the most generous. O my God, enable such servants of thine as are deprived of knowledge to be admitted into thy cause. For once they learn of thee, they bear witness to the truth of the day of judgment, and do not dispute the revelations of thy bounty. Send down upon them the tokens of thy grace, and grant them, wherever they reside, a liberal share of that which thou hast ordained for the pious among thy servants. Thou art in truth the supreme ruler, the all-bounteous, the most benevolent. O my God, let the outpourings of thy bounty and blessings descend upon homes whose inmates have embraced thy faith as a token of thy grace and as a mark of loving kindness from thy presence. Verily, unsurpassed art thou in granting forgiveness. Should thy bounty be withheld from anyone, how could he be reckoned among the followers of thy faith in thy day? Bless me, O my God, and those who will believe in thy signs on the appointed day, and such as cherish my love in their hearts, a love which thou dost instill into them. Verily thou art the Lord of righteousness, the most exalted. I don't think I turned the heater on, so let me do that. It'll take me half a second. Well, it was on, but it was on low. And it's a cold morning. I'm going to read this prayer for husbands by Abdu'l-Baha. O God, my God, this thy handmaiden is calling upon thee, trusting in thee, praying fervently to thee, imploring thee, turning her face unto thee, imploring thee to shed thy heavenly bounties upon her, and to disclose unto her thy spiritual mysteries, and to cast upon her the lights of thy Godhead. O my Lord, make the eyes of my husband to see. Rejoice thou his heart with the wine of the knowledge of thee. Draw thou his mind unto thy luminous beauty. Cheer thou his spirit by revealing unto him thy manifest splendors. O my Lord, lift thou the veil from before his sight. Rain down thy plenteous bounties upon him. Intoxicate him with the wine of love for thee. Make him one of thine angels, whose feet walk upon this earth, even as their souls are soaring through the high heavens. Cause him to become a brilliant lamp, shining out with the light of thy wisdom in the midst of thy people. Verily thou art the precious, the ever bestowing, the open of hand. And now I'm going to recite this marriage prayer by Bahá'u'lláh. He is the bestower, the bounteous. Praise be to God, the ancient, the ever-abiding, the changeless, the eternal. He who hath testified in his own being that verily he is the one, the single, the untrammeled, the exalted. We bear witness that there is no God but him, acknowledging his oneness, confessing his singleness. He hath ever dwelt in unapproachable heights, in the summits of his loftiness, sanctified from the mention of aught save himself, free from the description of aught but him. And when he desired to manifest grace and beneficence to men, and to set the world in order, he revealed observances and created laws. Among them he created the law of marriage, made it as a fortress for well-being and salvation, and enjoined it upon us in that which was sent down from the heaven of sanctity, from his most holy book. He saith, great is his glory. Marry, O people, that from you may appear he who will remember me amongst my servants. Verily, this is one of my commandments unto you. Obey it as an assistance to yourselves. Excuse me. Here's some prayers by Bahá'u'lláh. Magnified be thy name, O Lord my God. Thou art he whom all things worship, and who worshipeth no one, who is the Lord of all things and is the vassal of none, who knoweth all things and is known of none. Thou didst wish to make thyself known unto men, therefore thou didst through a word of thy mouth bring creation into being and fashion the universe. There is none other God except thee, the fashioner, the creator, the almighty, the most powerful. I implore thee, by this very word that hath shone forth above the horizon of thy will, to enable me to drink deep of the living waters through which thou hast vivified the hearts of thy chosen ones, and quickened the souls of them that love thee, that I may at all times and under all conditions turn my face wholly towards thee. Thou art the God of power, of glory and bounty. No God is there beside thee, the supreme ruler, the all-glorious, the omniscient. And now, I'm going to read another prayer by Bahá'u'lláh. And it's interesting because this prayer is interesting to me in one particular way. And that is that many years ago, I was a member of a cult. And during the time that I was tearing myself away, I became a Baha'i. And this prayer, I came upon this prayer. It was very relevant. I'm going to share it now. Glorified art thou, O Lord my God. I yield thee thanks for having enabled me to recognize the manifestation of thyself, and for having severed me from mine enemies, and laid bare before mine eyes their misdeeds and wicked works in thy days, and for having rid me of all attachment to them, and caused me to turn wholly towards thy grace and bountiful favors. I give thee thanks also for having sent down upon me from the clouds of thy will that which hath so sanctified me from the hints of the infidels and the illusions of the misbelievers, that I have fixed my heart firmly on thee, and fled from such as have denied the light of thy countenance. Again, I thank thee for having empowered me to be steadfast in thy love, and to speak forth thy praise, and to extol thy virtues, and for having given me to drink of the cup of thy mercy, that hath surpassed all things, visible and invisible. Thou art the Almighty, the most exalted, the all-glorious, the all-loving. I'm going to say this prayer for America that was revealed by Abdul-Baha I'm going to guess in 1912. In this prayer, he says, "This American nation is worthy of thy favors and is deserving of thy mercy." And he refers to it as a just government. I want to just say that I've pondered this because clearly there is so much injustice in our country and in our government. And I've come to the conclusion that when he refers to our government as a just government, what he means is the fact that our form of government allows a voice to the people, and not that it is necessarily reflecting justice in all of its acts. So I just wanted to make that clear before I offer this prayer. O thou kind Lord, this gathering is turning to thee. These hearts are radiant with thy love. These minds and spirits are exhilarated by the message of thy glad tidings. O God, let this American democracy become glorious in spiritual degrees, even as it has aspired to material degrees, and render this just government victorious. Confirm this revered nation to upraise the standard of the oneness of humanity, to promulgate the most great peace, to become thereby most glorious and praiseworthy among all the nations of the world. O God, this American nation is worthy of thy favors and is deserving of thy mercy. Make it precious and near to thee through thy bounty and bestowal. After Abdu'l-Baha visited this country in 1912 and returned to Palestine, he revealed a tablet for each section of the United States, and I'm going to recite Abdu'l-Baha's tablet for the northeastern states. O thou kind Lord, praise be unto thee, that thou hast shown us the highway of guidance, opened the doors of the kingdom, and manifested thyself through the Sun of reality. To the blind thou hast given sight, to the deaf thou hast granted hearing, thou hast resuscitated the dead, thou hast enriched the poor, thou hast shown the way to those who have gone astray. Thou hast led those with parched lips to the fountain of guidance, and thou hast suffered the thirsty fish to reach the ocean of reality, and thou hast invited the wandering birds to the rose garden of grace. O thou Almighty, we are thy servants and thy poor ones. We are remote and yearn for thy presence, are athirst for the water of thy fountain, are ill, longing for thy healing. We are walking in thy path and have no aim or hope save the diffusion of thy fragrance, so that all souls may raise the cry of, O God, guide us to the straight path. May their eyes be open to behold the light. May they be freed from the darkness of ignorance. May they gather around the lamp of thy guidance. May every portionless one receive a share, and may the deprived become the confidants of thy mysteries. O Almighty, look upon us with the glance of mercifulness. Grant us heavenly confirmation. Bestow upon us the breath of the Holy Spirit, so that we may be assisted in thy service, and like unto brilliant stars shine in these regions with the light of thy guidance. Verily thou art the powerful, the mighty, the wise, and the seeing. And I'm going to recite one more prayer by Abdu'l-Baha. This is the tablet of visitation to be said at his shrine. It can also be used in private prayer, and this is what he wrote about this prayer. He said, "Whoso reciteth this prayer with lowliness and fervor will bring gladness and joy to the heart of this servant. It will be even as meeting him face to face. He is the All-Glorious. O God, my God, lowly and tearful, I raise my suppliant hands to thee and cover my face in the dust of that threshold of thine. Exalted above the knowledge of the learned and the praise of all that glorify thee, graciously look upon thy servant, humble and lowly at thy door, with the glances of the eye of thy mercy, and immerse him in the ocean of thine eternal grace. Lord, he is a poor and lowly servant of thine, enthralled and imploring thee, captive in thy hand, praying fervently to thee, in tears before thy face, calling to thee and beseeching thee, saying, O Lord my God, give me thy grace to serve thy loved ones. Strengthen me in my servitude to thee. Illumine my brow with the light of adoration in thy court of holiness and of prayer to thy kingdom of grandeur. Lord, help me to be selfless at the heavenly entrance of thy gate, and aid me to be detached from all things within thy holy precincts. Lord, give me to drink from the chalice of selflessness. With its robe clothe me, and in its ocean immerse me. Make me as dust in the pathway of thy loved ones, and grant that I may offer up my soul for the earth, ennobled by the footsteps of thy chosen ones in thy path, O Lord of glory in the highest. With this prayer doth thy servant call thee at dawntide and in the night season. Fulfill his heart's desire, O Lord. Illumine his heart, gladden his bosom, kindle his light, that he may serve thy cause and thy servants. Thou art the bestower, the pitiful, the all-bountiful, the gracious, the merciful, the compassionate. Now we're going to continue reading from a tablet by Baha'u'lláh called Tarázát. So Tarázát means ornaments. And in this tablet, Baha'u'lláh is addressing humanity, and he's telling us what we need in order to succeed with our purpose in life. The first Taráz which I read was that man should know his own self and recognize that which leadeth unto loftiness or lowliness, glory or abasement, wealth or poverty. And then it goes on. in the first Taráz. And the second was to consort with the followers of all religions in a spirit of friendliness and fellowship, to proclaim that which the speaker on Sinai hath set forth, and to observe fairness in all matters. And that one goes on as well. And when he says the speaker on Sinai, my sense is that he's alluding to the laws of God. The third Taráz, which is where we are now, concerneth good character. A good character is verily the best mantle for men from God. With it he adorneth the temples of his loved ones. By my life, the light of a good character surpasseth the light of the sun, and the radiance thereof. Whoso attaineth unto it is accounted as a jewel among men. The glory and the upliftment of the world must needs depend upon it. A goodly character is a means whereby men are guided to the straight path and are led to the great announcement. And the great announcement refers to this day, which is the day of the fulfillment of mankind, which is the day in which we are building God's kingdom on earth, peace on earth. Well is it with him who is adorned with the saintly attributes and character of the concourse on high. So my understanding of the concourse on high is that is the concourse of all the holy souls who in the day of the manifestation of God who came during that time, whether it be Moses or Muhammad or Buddha or the Bab or Bahá'u'lláh or White Buffalo Calf Woman, the God's divine messengers that have come from age to every civilization and will forever continue to come. The concourse on high is those who have believed in them in the day in which they appeared. It beseemeth you to fix your gaze under all conditions upon justice and fairness. In the Hidden Words, which is another book by Baha'u'lláh, this exalted utterance hath been revealed from our most august pen. O Son of Spirit, the best beloved of all things in my sight is justice. Turn not away therefrom if thou desirest me, and neglect it not, that I may confide in thee. By its aid thou shalt see with thine own eyes, and not through the eyes of others, and shalt know of thine own knowledge, and not through the knowledge of thy neighbor. Ponder this in thy heart, how it behooveth thee to be. Verily justice is my gift to thee, and the sign of my loving kindness. Set it then before thine eyes. And then Baha'u'lláh goes on to say in this third Taráz, they that are just and fair-minded in their judgment occupy a sublime station and hold an exalted rank. The light of piety and uprightness shineth resplendent from these souls. We earnestly hope that the peoples and countries of the world may not be deprived of the splendors of these two luminaries. Tomorrow we will read what the fourth Taráz is. And now I'm going to continue reading Baha'u'llah's tablet to Nasir-ed-Din Shah. So when Baha'u'lláh was a prisoner in Adrianople in the 1860s, he wrote letters to all the kings and rulers of the known world at that time. This is his letter to Nasir-ed-Din Shah, who was the Shah of Persia. Now, Nasir-ed-Din Shah was the one who was responsible for banishing Baha'u'lláh from his homeland of Persia to Iraq. And after Baha'u'lláh lived in Baghdad for 10 years, he was banished again by the Ottoman Empire to Constantinople, and then from there to Adrianople, and from there to the prison city in Palestine of Akka. And they said of the prison city of Akka that birds flying over Akka would drop dead from the stench. And Nasir-ad-Din Shah had a hand in all of Baha'u'llah's banishments, all 4 of Baha'u'llah's banishments. And this is from when Baha'u'lláh was banished the 3rd time in Adrianople. And in this letter that he writes to Nasir-ad-Din Shah, he asks Nasir-ad-Din Shah to look into the plight of Baha'u'lláh himself and his followers and the injustice that has been done to them and is continuing to be done to them, because these things happened because of unscrupulous ministers that were causing it without the full knowledge of the Shah. So in this letter, Baha'u'lláh is asking the Shah to intervene. He's also asking the Shah to allow him to meet personally with the Shah and to hold a gathering with the leaders of religion, because it's the leaders of religion and the leaders of government who have from time immemorial caused the terrible persecution and suffering of these manifestations of God that I mentioned that come to the world from age to age. He also gives Nasir-ad-Din Shah advice on how to conduct his affairs, and very much he talks about the necessity for the Shah to know what's going on in his country, to make sure that the poor are cared for and that justice is administered. So at this point in the letter, Baha'u'lláh is bringing to mind to the Shah what happened to Muhammad. And I want to say that this tablet to Nasir-ad-Din Shah, called the Suriy-i-Haykal, or the Tablet of the Temple, is found in several different places, but I'm reading it from a compilation of tablets of Baha'u'lláh called the Summons of the Lord of Hosts. And here he addresses the Shah in reference to Muhammad. Because, of course, he's talking to the leader of a Muslim country. Consider the dispensation of him who is the seal of the prophets. That's one of Muhammad's titles. And the king of the chosen ones. May the souls of all mankind be offered up for his sake. After the day star of truth dawned above the horizon of Hijaz, which is a reference to one of the places that Muhammad was, how great were the cruelties which the exponents of error inflicted upon that incomparable manifestation of the All-Glorious. Such was their heedlessness that they regarded every injury inflicted upon that sacred being as ranking among the greatest of all acts and constituting a means of attainment unto God, the Most High. For in the early years of his mission, the divines of that age, both Christian and Jewish, turned away from that day star of the heaven of glory, whereupon all people, high and low alike, bestirred themselves to extinguish the light of that luminary of the horizon of inner meanings. The names of all these divines have been mentioned in the books of old. Among them are Wab ibn-i-Rahib, Ka'b ibn-i-Ashraf, Abdullah-i-Obey, and others of their like. So what he's saying is that when the leaders of religion opposed Muhammad, all the people followed. Finally, matters came to such a pass that these men took counsel together and conspired to shed his pure blood. Even as God, glorified be his mention, saith, and remember, when the disbelievers schemed against thee, that they might lay hold upon thee, or slay thee, or cast thee out. And so they schemed, and God schemed. And God verily is the best of schemers. That's from the Quran. And again he saith, but if their opposition be grievous to thee, and if thou canst, seek out an opening into the earth, or a ladder into heaven, and bring to them a sign. Yet if God wished, he could gather them unto true guidance. Be not then of the ignorant. By God, the hearts of his favored ones are consumed at the purport of these two blessed verses. He's saying there, this is the voice of God in the Quran coming through Muhammad to Muhammad. And he's saying, there's nothing you can do about the perversity of these people. But know that if God wanted to, God could do something about it. So have faith. God has a purpose in all of this. By God, the hearts of his favored ones are consumed at the purport of these two blessed verses. Such established and undisputed facts have been forgotten, and no one hath paused to reflect in days past or in this day upon the things that have prompted men to turn away from the revealers of the light of God at the time of their manifestation. So, I know that I lost connection here. I do have a YouTube channel called Baha'i Readings, which did catch the missing parts. So if you want to catch the missing parts, you can go to Baha'i Readings later on today after I post it and check it out. I want to thank you very much for joining me. It's an incredible privilege to be able to do this. I had not intended to do this, but my nephew asked me to, and it seemed like a good thing. I do this every morning, and it brings a lot of joy to my heart because for many years I would pray by myself in the morning, and I always wished that there were those who could pray with me. So it's a great honor for me to have you join me. And you can always feel free to make your presence known. I can bring you on camera if you like, if you have anything to add, if you have anything to ask, or you can always type out your questions or your comments, and I will see them and I can respond to them if they're questions. It's wonderful to be able to do this with you. And before I go, I'm just going to say a prayer. I'm going to say a prayer for us. So my prayer for us is that in our effort to uphold justice, we also strive to uphold love and compassion, and that we put our trust in God and let go of our fear and turn to God and ask for His help with whatever we need. Nothing is too small and nothing is too large. And I wish you a blessed day. And I'm going to say this Baha'i invocation, which means God is most glorious. Allahu Akbar. God is most glorious.